Welcome to the CEO1440, the Mortgage Broker Builder Show, where we look at breaking down all things sales, marketing, and all things just to help you enjoy a little bit more of your 1,440 minutes every day. And this week, we've got Mike Faraci, the red button media guy. Hit the red button, the guy that is all things video, and then a whole lot more, and a close personal friend as well. So, Mike, welcome. How are you?
What's happening, John? Doing well. Thank you for having me. Appreciate it.
Awesome. Yeah, no, I love having you on. I think that you just bring it every single time. And the stuff that you do online, your TikTok, your watch videos, the whole 9 yards. I think it's
No, not that many people know about the watch
watch
videos.
videos.
We keep those under wraps for now.
If you know Mike and you don't know about the watch videos, you're probably missing out. There's a whole other world of watches out there.
There is. That is my creative outlet where I get to hop on camera and talk about something that I'm passionate about, and not think about work and the business for a little bit. That's my sanity channel.
Well, a sanity channel, I think, is always good, and you've got to have those things.
Yeah.
So what I wanted to do here is, inside my coaching program, I have this premise that I like to have more VPM, which is value per minute. So my goal here is to just really give people a ton of value for the time that they're taking away from their family and whatnot. Just kind of ask you some basic questions. And I know that you, at this point, you've literally probably made hundreds, if not thousands of videos for different clients across all kinds of industry. I think that you did it really well. And
we're definitely in the thousands now.
And every week, like I'm seeing an evolution now, like better calls to action. I think that you're figuring out a lot as you've went. So I like to bring you on as somebody that's got a lot of scars and can share the lessons without the scars for the people that are there. So let's just quickly, just hit on just who you are again, what gives you any authority to actually talk about video marketing, those kind of things, your company, kind of what you do, just quickly, and we'll pick it up from there.
Yeah. Quick nickel tour. I'm Mike Faraci, 20+ year mortgage veteran, and now founder and CEO of Red Button Media. We are a video content marketing agency where we help founders, executives, leaders, thought leaders specifically, get the video content that they need for posting and hosting wherever they do, just on autopilot, very efficiently, small amount of their time. And we make sure that all of the message is delivered, and including all the edits that make everything final and pretty, right? We always make sure that it's brand consistent and speaking to your specific target audience and who you want to be connecting with. So that way, our video is not made necessarily to get the most views and get a bunch of likes on TikTok and Instagram. We're looking to connect with potential clients in a meaningful way. Lower quantity of view, much higher quality of view. And that's how our clients drive revenue through their video content. It's not through on-platform ad revenue and brand deals. It's through funneling people into their business and starting conversations and building relationships that way. And I know how to do this because I've done it. I've done it for a handful of different brands back when I was more of an entrepreneur. And I've done it for myself when I started this and turned entrepreneur. I mean, I had a run on LinkedIn where I posted a fresh new video 500 days in a row. No holidays, no weekends, no nothing. And over the course of that, you experiment a lot, you learn a lot of things, but most importantly, I found a way to build a business and support my family by doing something that I love. And there's really no better freedom than that. We always want to grow bigger and get better and improve and all that stuff. But right now, family's happy, bills are paid, and we're happy rolling into the holidays.
Awesome. Yeah. And I refer a lot of people over there, and I have not had a person that I've sent over that said anything bad, right? Some people didn't move forward, opted not to do it for any number of reasons, which I actually think is something I want to talk about. That's been a hot button of mine that we'll get into. I call it the Lonnie. I think you've got a different name for it, but I think it's something that equates here. But just if you are a CEO, a founder, somebody that wants to go out and establish and build your own personal brand, our brand today is the one thing that carries with us forever. And the brand you build today will still be returning a dividend 5 years, 10 years, 20 years down the road. So unless you plan on dying or getting out of business altogether, the stuff that Mike can help you with is, across the board. It's great. And I first started working with Mike. I purchased a course of his called the Video Marketing Marvels, which, we give away
Okay.
as part of inside of our Fin Toolbox. We let people give people access to that. And it's just an incredible one-on-one program for somebody that's, individual banker or somebody that's looking at doing it. Mike puts together great stuff. So if you got questions for Mike, he can definitely help you out across the board. But the first question I have
That's
for
right.
you, and I know you run into this a lot, you get the question,
Yeah.
what's the ROI on video? And I've recently been
Yeah.
talking about Lonnie, which is the
Yes.
loss on non-investment. And for mortgage
Yep.
people like myself, I see a lot of people, they lose way more because they spend a ton on leads, but then they don't do anything to nurture, follow up, or create a brand. So I call it the Lonnie. I think you have some experience there. What are you seeing out there with regards to opportunity costs where people are just missing the boat and you see it consistently?
I think people are missing the boat because they're trying to apply old school marketing methodology to new modern tactics and strategies. And the best the best example I have for this was actually a discovery call I had a couple of months ago. They were asking about the ROI of video content. What kind of money can they see back for their investment on creating this content, getting out there in front of people? And I just looked at them square in the face and said, "That's a really interesting question. What are your current sales and marketing efforts?" And they said that their current efforts were involving a bunch of cold calling and lots of industry conferences. And I said, perfect. You're doing a bunch of industry conferences. How many of those are you doing a month? And they were averaging about one a month. And did some digging, and it turned out that they were investing $2,500 to $3,000 into each one of those conferences. And I said, perfect. You're spending $2,500 to $3,000 on a conference. What type of revenue are you seeing in return from each conference? Oh, well, it depends. It depends on who you meet. Sometimes you get good leads, sometimes you get people that are ready to go, sometimes you get nothing. So, okay, so there's no predictable ROI. Correct. But you keep doing them. Why do you keep doing them? And they said, well, we keep doing them so we can show up for our current and potential clients, so we can be visible because that's where they are. I said, that's great. Do you think they're not online? Do you think they're not in their email? Do you think they're not in their text messages? Do you think they're not in some sort of a social media feed, whether it's Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn? Most people are on LinkedIn these days, right? Video content is exactly the same. It's showing up for them, only it's doing it at scale. And it's doing it in a way to where nobody has to travel to a conference. You're just showing up automagically where they're already paying attention. You are inserting yourself into that top of mind frame for every single potential client and current client in a way to where you're delivering your messaging over and over again. You're reminding them what you do. You're providing them value by solving problems and giving little tidbits and things like that. Video content is no different than showing up at a conference just so you can be visible where the people you want to reach are paying attention. When it comes to that level of visibility and brand building, there's not always going to be a predictable ROI. And it's not because you can't track it, it's because most companies don't want to track it because it involves some highly complex attribution model. So the Lonnie, or loss of non-investment, or what I've been referring to as opportunity cost. What opportunities are you losing because you're not showing up in that way? When it comes to the organic posting of content and creation of video content and showing up in these different ways digitally at scale, visibility isn't always trackable from an
Right.
ROI perspective. But when you look at companies like Nike and Apple and, name a big popular company out there, these gargantuan companies spend upwards of 7+% of their top line revenue on marketing every single year. So if you run those numbers based on 2023, Why would Apple feel the need to spend 27 plus $billion on marketing last year? Because you can't track ROI of a billboard or of a TV commercial that just pushes somebody to type apple.com on their phone. Like, you can't track the ROI of that stuff. It's because these companies know that visibility is invaluable. Like, you cannot place a value on it. Visibility and being top of mind at transaction time is the magic. That's what everybody's looking for. And the only way to be top of mind at transaction time is to increase your odds by being top of mind more often than you are. Most of the time, way more often than you are. And in a world where we come across roughly 3 to 5, and this is not an exaggeration, there's been studies done on this. We come across anywhere between 3 and 5,000 brands per day.
Really?
Per day. I'm looking at a camera that says Fujifilm on it. This is an Electro Voice microphone. I'm looking at a Shure microphone. I have a Rode thing over here. I have an Apple computer. You're up here in Squadcast, which is what we're doing. Like, I'm looking at a dozen brands right now, and I don't even know.
Right.
We come across 3 to 5,000 brands per day. And in a world where we are that saturated with things coming at us, it's really hard to distract someone away from where they're paying attention to get them to focus on you. So the best chance you have is to show up where they're already paying attention. And people are already paying attention to their phones, whether it's text or email or that CRM campaign that you sent out or a social media feed or a website or YouTube. They're already paying attention there. So you must show up there, because if you don't, your competition will, and they're the ones that are going to be top of mind. And that's the Lonnie. That's the opportunity cost of not showing up in this way. ROI, kind of tough to track, but it's not an ROI conversation. It's an opportunity cost conversation.
Yeah, I run into and have a lot of conversations, right? We've got, right, my Fin Toolbox product, right? It's coaching, and along with it,
Yeah.
we give them free access to a FinLocker app that we call our Fin Toolbox. And people say, like, well,
Yep.
what's the return on that? I'm like, I don't know, but you're spending $5,000 a month in shared Zillow leads with agents that you're maybe going to
Yeah.
call once, and you do nothing else with it. How many of those are your fresh lead this month? You pay the money for it. You say the lead sucks. It's bad leads, bad this. And then 3 months later, you're buying the same lead. You never nurtured it. So I see it as just a massive place. And this is where I think that the Rocket Mortgages of the world, they win
Yeah.
because they're doing all these
Yeah.
things, not just at scale, but they're the ones doing it, spending billions of dollars to do it, to be in front of them, whether they're going to force feed you with it. So
Well, it's because they understand how valuable visibility is. Like, it's just like this has nothing to do with the product you sell. It has everything to do with how much attention you're garnering, because without attention and visibility, it's impossible to create demand. You can invest in fancy websites, but if nobody knows where to find you, nobody's ever going to land on your
yeah,
website. You can invest in the biggest and best CRMs, but unless you're constantly building the database within there and keeping it updated with the latest and greatest information, like, you're going to get out of it what you put into it.
sure.
It's the same with everything. And everybody's looking for the easy button. I got news for you. It doesn't exist. It takes effort. And that's a good thing, because if it didn't take any effort, it would already be oversaturated and you wouldn't have an opportunity here.
Yeah, and
But when it comes to video content and showing up and being visible for your people, you have an opportunity here, because it takes one of two things. It takes some time or some budget. And if you're willing to allocate the proper amount of time or the proper amount of budget to create some high quality content on a consistent basis, then you will see the rewards. It's just not the same as buying leads. Like, you're not going to fill your pipeline with leads right away. It's a longer term strategy. This is marketing. Marketing is typically a mid to long term thing. Sales is for immediate revenue generation. When you pair a good sales strategy with a good marketing strategy, that's when you get the front to back long term growth.
and I don't think that it's not an and or. I think that everybody needs to be doing both. You need to be focused on something
100%.
during in the business today. Just understand, if you don't have something for that client today, they need a place to go. And also, something that I think most loan officers really underestimate, especially the ones that aren't doing this, is that when A real estate agent, my belief is when a real estate agent refers, a lender, one of the first things they do, they
Mhm.
don't call and ask what your rate is. The first thing they do is they hit you up in the Google and they want to see what
Every
is
time.
that person like. And they're going to go ahead and they're going to make a whole bunch of buying decisions. It used to be you had 5 seconds to make a first impression. My belief is today
Yeah.
you have 0 seconds because your first impression was made before that business card was ever handed out. And it's the video that you did.
Mhm.
It was what you did on the weekend, what you last posted on Facebook, what's in the top of your feeds and your world when they Google your name. And if that's not favorable, people
I'm
won't even call you.
That's right. With all the information at at everyone's disposal these days, it's exactly right. Like, not a lot of people in this industry have even come to the understanding that a referral to you is no longer a referral for business. It's a referral for search. Nobody is saying, "Hey, go use this person." And they're going to say, "Oh yeah, that's great. I'm going to go just blindly trust and use this person because you said so." That is the exception to the rule these days. Somebody's going to say, "Hey, go use this person for this transaction." They're going to say, "Okay, great. I'm going to go search for them, make sure they know their shit." Like, that's what's happening. I'm going to make sure that and if you're not showing up where they are searching, you're probably not going to get that at bat. And the thing is that Google's the number one search engine used on the planet. YouTube's number two. TikTok is number three. People search in very different ways. So if you're not showing up in multiple places where these people are paying attention, if my digital home is Instagram, which is not, mine is LinkedIn. Go hit me up on LinkedIn if you want to connect and get some more of my content. But if my digital home is Instagram and somebody else's digital home is TikTok, and I'm not posting or repurposing my Instagram content to TikTok, they're never going to find me. They're never going to know I exist. If my digital home is LinkedIn and somebody likes to learn based on watching YouTube videos, but I'm not repurposing my LinkedIn content to YouTube, they're never going to find me. Like, it's just not going to happen. You must be visible. You must be visible enough to be findable. And then once you're findable, the stuff that you're putting out has to be of decent quality. It doesn't have to be the best stuff in the world. You don't have to be hiring camera crews and stuff like that. That works against you in a lot of ways, actually. But we want to show up in a meaningful way, showing people, yes, I can help you because I've helped people like you before. And here's some of the pitfalls. Here's some of the things. Here's some of the problems that we solve. Here's why we do what we do. Here's some mistakes that I made that I learned from. I'm a human. Humans are looking to relate to humans. So just showing up and being visible is huge. And then, I mean, I mentioned attribution a little while ago, but attribution is huge. Attributing where you get each lead from can keep you from stopping something that's actually working. I had this happen to a loan officer not too long ago. Somebody I was coaching, they stopped doing video on social. And I asked them why. And they said, "Oh, well, it just wasn't working." And then the next thing you know, 3-4 months later, they say, "Hey, I've seen a huge drop off in business." And this wasn't a market movement related drop off in
Yeah.
business. They just saw a huge drop off in business. And I said, "Well, do you think it's because you stopped your content?" So, "Well, I don't know, but I had a couple of referral sources that all of a sudden stopped pushing deals my way. And I'm not sure why I lost those referral sources." And I said, "Well, that's interesting. When did you meet those referral sources?" "Oh, about a year ago." "How did you meet them?" "On social media." Duh. You met those referral sources. They reached out to you because of your social media content. You were always top of mind for them. So they were always thinking about you. But meanwhile, every deal they referred you were attributing that deal to a referral. You weren't attributing that deal to your social media strategy. So if you rewind the clock from day one, that referral source never would have existed without your social media strategy. So every deal that comes from them should be at least in part attributed to your social media strategy. So that way, a year later, when you look back at all the deals that came from social media, those are counted. But this person wasn't doing that. They were just counting them as referrals. And their numbers showed that their social media strategy wasn't producing much volume for them. So they shut it down. Then they weren't top of mind for those referral sources that were active in referring them deals. And those deals started going other places. So actually attributing the deals that you get properly based on your social media strategy. It takes a few extra steps, but it does give you some transparency into what's working and what's not. It just so happens that the vast majority of companies do not have their CRM set up to do that effectively. And it's extra work. So most people aren't going to do it. And that's why the complexity of an attribution model can work against your ROI tracking. It doesn't mean there's no return on investment, but it does mean it's more difficult to keep track
Sure.
of, which is why we like to talk about Lonnie or opportunity cost.
Hey, if you're here, it's because you understand that the world is changing at an alarming rate, and you understand that big data is going to dominate as we move forward. Either you're going to use it to grow your market share, or somebody's going to use it against you to grow theirs. If you want to dig a little bit deeper here, take a look at your own business, figure out and identify some key constraints, maybe some things that you could do a little bit differently to grow a little faster. Here's what I can tell you. After 27 years of doing this, helping well over 1,000 loan officers earn hundreds of millions of dollars of commissions, there are a couple of key constraints inside of your business. I don't know what they are right now. I just know that they exist. So if you're curious about this, let's get on a strategy call. Take 20, 30 minutes. You will walk away with one or two actionable items that you can do to do more business as you move forward. There'll be a link someplace here on the page. I look forward to personally meeting you. I think that also you look across most successful loan officers that I know, they are probably running 3 to 7 CRMs. And a CRM,
Sure.
right, it's not just the shape of the world.
They don't know it.
Yeah. I mean, Facebook,
The contacts list in your cell phone is a CRM.
Facebook is a CRM,
Like,
Instagram, TikTok.
that's
They're
right.
all managing
Yeah.
client relationships. It doesn't have to be something that has a call component and, your drip email campaign. Every time you post, that is part of your drip campaign. It doesn't have to be your pumpkin
Mhm.
spice latte, Thanksgiving newsletter you
No.
sent out. That's part of a drip campaign, a shitty one inside of a CRM, but yet one of many. But you're operating
Mhm.
multiple CRMs today, all of which are creating a personal brand and a brand for your company. And I just had a talk this morning with a group of salespeople where we talked about the PPC, which I believe people buy for essentially 3 reasons. They buy for the product, the person, or the company.
Mhm.
The more trust, like, and respect they have in each 3 of those, the higher they value those, the greater the likelihood that they'll buy. So if somebody loves my product, I
That's
got a
right.
2% interest rate. They love me because it's my mom. And I work for, a Rocket Mortgage that has a great brand name out there. They've won or bought, 74 JD Power Awards. Well, they hit high in all 3 of those. Somebody does business with you, but you've got to be out
That's
there in
right.
front of them
And in mortgage, we can usually just dial it down to the person in the company because the product has been commoditized.
for the most part.
I mean, at the end of the day, 99% of lenders and brokers on this on God's green earth have access to basically the same product mix and rates. Like all the programs and all the rates come from the same places. Is there going to be micro differences here and there in certain rate stacks? Sure. But no consumer is ever going to be able to have the tools to compare everybody against everything for every single scenario. So at the end of the day, products and rates are roughly similar everywhere. So people are not buying your product. This is a service industry. They're buying the people and the company that are providing them the service of securitizing that product.
And I would take that one. I would disagree with you slightly, and not to say that,
Mhm.
but only in more nuanced. The more you focus on the
Yeah,
product, probably the more commoditized it is. The more you talk about people's problems and their solutions and never mention the product, right? You can probably differentiate
sure.
yourself there only by the words that you use. You talk
Oh
about
yeah,
security and payment, low payments, and you don't have to worry about, right? That's your 30-year fixed, or you can call it a 30-year fixed. So I think that it's nuanced, but people do a better job of talking to the pointers.
I mean, I've gone online and built YouTube channels where I have sold bank statement programs better than any other loan officer on the face of the planet because I never said the words bank statement program.
Yeah.
Because no consumer knows what a bank statement program is. They don't know what a 24-month bank statement non-QM program is, and that's what the majority of originators are out there talking about in their content, when they really need to be talking about how much of a pain in the ass it is for self-employed people to qualify for a mortgage, because They don't claim what they actually make on their taxes, and they shouldn't. And we have the solution for you. Like, the words bank statement program never need to come out of your mouth. It's always got to be solutions oriented, because at the end of the day, if you're making content for you, then it's not going to land well with a viewer. It's just going to come off like a commercial, and nobody's out there just looking for commercials to watch. You need to be making the content truly for your viewers. You just got to do yourself the favor and pick a specific viewer before you make a piece of content that you want to be connecting with. So that way you're speaking to them in and on their own terms. And that's how you get content that resonates in a meaningful way.
I think that's a great lead in here too. Something I have the three biggest kind of mistakes you see people making. And
Yeah.
just one I see all over the place. I see it a lot with account executives. Account executives, especially in the
Mhm.
non-QM space, they're out trying to sell these products that I don't think most
Yep.
bankers even understand how it works. And they are doing
Sure.
exactly what you just said. They're, yeah, and we've got 12, 24, 18-month, bank statement programs, DSCR, PL, P&L product, call me if you need help. And they have no idea even what that is. What are kind of like three
Yep.
mistakes you see across the board that people are making constantly in video?
So the first the first mistake is, it's kind of a two-pronged mistake, right? Because they kind of go together and lead into each other. So the first mistake is not making enough video. Um, a lot of people think that they'll be able to make one video for everyone,
Okay.
or they're going to post one or two videos a month, and that's going to move the needle. And then that leads into kind of the mistake 1B, which is quitting too soon before you give it enough of a chance. Um, that just kind of comes off the back of false hope and unrealistic expectations, right?
Sure.
But at the end of the day, if you're not showing up consistently, like, you gotta put this in terms that you can understand, right? So imagine yourself at the corner bar or the local coffee house that you go to all the time. If you are there 3 days a week and you see someone order a similar drink to you once a month, you see that face, they order that drink once a month. How long is it going to take you to feel familiar with that person? Probably quite some time. But if you see them in there ordering a very similar drink to you twice a week, heck, you're there 3 days a week, they're there twice a week on the same days, ordering basically the same thing as you, that person is going to become much more familiar to you much more quickly. And this is how social media feeds work. It's not always about getting the view and the like and the comment and the DM and the conversation and converting. And like, that's not always what it's about. Sometimes you just got to show up more often so people can grow to trust that you're going to be there. And once you become familiar enough to someone to where they think, okay, they're not going away, this isn't just some flash in the pan, they're going to keep showing up, then they might actually listen to what you're talking about. So big mistake number one is just not making enough content. This is not a once a month, twice a month type of thing. You need to be showing up 2 to 3 times a week. You really do. And that doesn't mean you have to start that way. You can baby step into that and as you get more comfortable, but you really need to target, 2 to 3 video posts a week minimum in order to move the needle in a meaningful way, especially when you're just starting out and kind of growing an audience. That mistake 1B, quitting too soon, it's going to take you 6 to 12 months to start gaining some meaningful traction. So get in that mindset. This is not something that's going to happen in a couple of weeks. It's a long-term commitment. If you are not game for this long-term commitment, don't make the commitment. If you don't want to really be doing this for 6 to 12 months in order to build your business for the next 6 to 12 years, then don't do it, because you're just going to take up room for your competitor who wants to do it, and they're going to wipe the floor with you because they are showing up that way, right? Second big mistake that I see people doing, especially when they first get started, is that they hit record and they start selling. and not and they don't just start selling and talking about what they have to offer and what they are doing and what their product is and what their product does, but they're doing it in a way to where it's like they're on a stage presenting to a room full of people that's right in front of them. And at first kind of thought as you go through this process, that seems to make sense. Oh, I'm going to get on camera. I'm talking to a bunch of people. I'm going to act like I'm on stage talking to a bunch of people because I've done that before. So I can kind of get comfortable that way. It makes sense, but it bites you in the ass because you're not talking to a bunch of people. On the other end of that video is one person on their computer or phone, and they're by themselves, and they will scroll past you faster than you can imagine if you're not actually adding something to their day. So on stage with a captive audience who's going to feel bad for taking that phone call in the middle of a sentence or walking out in the middle of your shtick, that doesn't exist in video. What exists in video is one person who must know that they have to pay attention to you from the jump. So don't lead up to a crescendo and then drive home your point because people aren't going to stick around that long. You got to lead with your point and then give context to it. And like we were talking about earlier, you can't do it in a salesy way. Because if you're selling and if you're talking about you and what you do and your products, you're making commercials. Nobody wants to watch a commercial. You don't want to talk about you. You want to talk about your customers and their experience. You don't want to talk about your products. You want to talk about the problems they solve. You don't want to talk about what you have to offer. You want to talk about the tools that your past clients and referral sources have used effectively. Share stories. Don't give pitches. And then the third thing that I think a lot of people struggle with is just self-confidence, not believing in themselves. You need to understand that you have forgotten more information than the vast majority of laymen will ever know about this industry. So when you're thinking about content topics and you're talking, oh, I don't know what to talk about. I don't know what to say. Well, first off, pick the person you're saying it to. That's going to help kind of drive your messaging and help you form some context around it because you're going to have a down payment conversation that's wildly different with a first-time home buyer and with an experienced investor or a potential referral source or somebody that you're trying to recruit or somebody who's looking for a down payment assistance program. Like the context differs wildly. So pick the person that you're talking to and then tell them the information that you learned like the first 2 months you got into the business. I mean, I recently saw a NAR report. It was actually published in 2022, but I was looking at it not too long ago, and it showed that 70% of the country still thinks that you need 10% or more down payment to buy a house. Like that hasn't been a thing for decades and decades, and this is the basis of knowledge that we're dealing with here.
Right.
So if you're a mortgage or a real estate professional, you're trying to connect with clients, they don't need to be hearing about debt to income ratio calculation. That math is a bore fest. They're just going to scroll past you. Nobody wants math in their face in the morning or whatever it is you're posting, right? Nobody wants math in their face at all. Do it for them. At the end of the day, it's not about the qualification parameters. It's about, hey, I see you. I understand you. I empathize with you. That's why I made a living helping people like you because this is the problem we solve. And if you have that problem too, reach out to me because we have your solutions. Like it really is that simple. It has to be nothing more than just problem identification, empathizing, and prompting people to reach out for more details. Because all those minimum FICOs and maximum loan amounts and max DTIs and calculate like that's all great information for a one-on-one conversation when that conversation starts to happen. That's not the information for your intro, right? It's like it's like a first date. Hey man, take me to dinner first, it's kind of that feel. So don't pitch too hard. Just be welcome and prompt people to reach out. Those are the 3 mistakes. Selling too much, presenting as if you're talking to a captive audience, quitting too soon, not creating enough volume, and not not giving yourself credit for your own knowledge. You'd be amazed at the life-changing things that can happen just from you sharing your foundational knowledge when it happens to land in front of the right person.
You do you see I really like that, and I think I mess this up all the time, just speaking to one
Mhm.
person versus a group. I'm just
Yeah.
thinking in my head, like, who really am I speaking to? Something that I've been trying to do more of recently is to provide some context. I just around like who I am and why should you even listen to me? So I've been doing this game
Yeah.
for 27 years. I literally have probably hired well over 1,000 loan officers, have helped them earn hundreds of millions of dollars of commission like along the way. And I'm trying to do coaching and helping people. So I've been trying to mention that in my post, right? Which is a
Yeah.
little bit salesy, but I'm trying to kind of, you know, here's why why
Qualify.
listen to me versus, because there's a
Yeah.
million coaches out there that have been doing this for 3 years. Like I have a 4-digit NMLS. I was once, I had
Yeah.
right. So like
Yeah.
I have something that's there that I feel adds value. What are your thoughts on like injecting that in there? Because maybe people don't know, and this was I get questioned all the time, like, is CEO14? I'm like, oh, you didn't see my post from April of last year when I explained it? Um,
Yeah.
so what
Yeah.
is your thought on injecting that into there? Because for me, I find that to be valuable. But again, right, if I'm speaking to one person, that is pretty salesy to drop that in there. What's a good balance? And I know this
Yeah.
is something you've like selling with like a hard close,
Yeah.
with a soft, like, hey, come, come whisper around the corner to me.
Mhm.
What are your thoughts kind of on tying all
Yeah.
that in? Because I know you have some thoughts. And should I stop
I
telling people
do.
that I have a 4-digit
So
NMLS and I'm pretty damn sweet? Um,
let's go. All right. So let's take this from a content perspective. So if I'm planning a piece of content, we got your hook, you got your intro, you got your middle, you got your ending or your close or whatever it is, and possibly a CTA at the end. Uh, every piece of content should have a hook right at the top, a reason that you're paying attention. What's the reason you're paying attention? Let's go back to that kind of self-employed borrower example, right? Hey, self-employed people, or I mean, maybe you don't want to say people, right? Like,
we'll get the pronouns correctly.
as a
Right.
self-employed entrepreneur, isn't it a pain in the ass to qualify for a mortgage? Maybe that's your hook, right? And then maybe you can follow that with a slight rehook that gives a little extra context or asks a question. Don't you wish you could qualify based on what you really make? All right, so there's our hook, there's our rehook. Okay, we got them. Like hook, yeah, I do. I do wish it was easier. What if you could qualify based on what you really make? What are they talking about? I got to pay attention to
Right.
this. Okay, so now we've filtered out W-2 wage earners. We've filtered out people who are looking for investment properties and DSCR programs. We've filtered out a whole bunch of people because we're only talking to self-employed borrowers at this piece. That's phenomenal. Part two, re-identify the problem, right? The mortgage industry was not made for you because they just want to see your tax returns and give you income based on that. Then you can introduce the solution. Luckily, we've we've struck a strategic partnership with an investor that's going to let you use your bank statements so we can see what you really make and we'll qualify you based on that. Then you can give your little qualification stuff, right? So I don't like the intro and the qualification at the top. If you're going to do it, I like it in the middle after you've given someone some value. You've hooked them in, you've given them a reason to be there, you've identified a problem, you've let them know you have a solution for it. Now, why should they reach out to you for that solution? Because we've been doing this for about 20 years, and this is a thing that I know and I trust, and I've seen it work for people just like you. Or if this was one of your pieces of content, you say, I've been doing this for, by the looks of your hair, 87 years, and I have a 4-digit NMLS because like all of that stuff. Like that comes kind of in the middle. I like to earn that. So if I give you value, I've now earned the right to ask you for something. And in this instance, I'm just asking you to listen to 5 to 10 seconds about who I am so I really know what I'm talking
Right.
about. So I really know my stuff. And then if you want to end that with so if you want more details, about how you can qualify for a mortgage, or if you want more details about how you can get a mortgage that you actually deserve, then comes your CTA. And I like to classify CTAs as soft CTAs or hard CTAs. CTAs call to action, if anybody isn't familiar. A hard CTA is like the typical stuff you hear. DM me with the word self-employed, and I'll send you this lead magnet, this one pager, that the step-by-step thing that walks you through it. Go to this website and fill out this form. Like, those are hard CTAs. It's kind of, I liken it to a hard close. It's like a go here and do this thing. This is what I want you to do next. A soft CTA would be a little more hands off. Just reach out to me. Shoot me a DM, hit me up in the comments, reach out to me. We'll have a discussion about your specific situation. A lot of the times, the reach out CTA, especially on socials, is all you really need. Um, Unless you're really trying to test some things or get people to go to a specific place. But the vast majority of the time, if somebody's on a platform and they're watching your content on that platform, they know how to get a hold of you. They see your name, it's right there above your post. They see your little profile picture. They know
Right.
what you look like. They know how to click on that and send you a direct message if they want to get a hold of you. Like, people know how to go to your profile page and see if there's a phone number or an email address there if they really want to reach out. So you don't really have to tell them how. They're on the platform, they use the platform, they know what's going on. So just saying, "Hey, reach out if you want to talk. I'm actually available for you." Uh, that's the thing that people don't understand. Once you start posting um, consistent volume of content, and you're showing up to somebody often, you reach this little minor celebrity status in their mind. You don't know it. You'll never admit it. I don't. Um, and the people in your audience might not even know it, but it's a subconscious thing that makes them think, "Oh, they're always showing up. They must be super busy. They don't have time for me."
Yeah.
Or, "Oh, I'm seeing them all the time. Like, they're super popular." Like, that's that little minor celebrity status. I don't want to reach out. I don't want to waste their time. They're not available to me. So that soft CTA of just reminding people, "Hey, I really am available for you. That's why I do this. I want to have that conversation with you. Reach out." It doesn't have to be a hard ask to go to a specific place and do a specific thing, but a softer call to action, just enabling people and being friendly enough, being approachable. A lot of the time, that's all it takes to create more conversations. And that's what this kind of content marketing game is all about, is just creating more conversations. Because more conversations mean more relationships, and more relationships mean more business.
Yeah. You give them permission and don't be a stranger. I posted a video a
That's right.
long time ago about people in the panel van, right? Don't be a stranger. You don't want to be a stranger out there. Well,
Yep.
this has been fantastic.
Yep.
I truly appreciate it. I mean, I've taken a few things away from here just myself. Hopefully anybody that's
Yeah.
listening has gotten, some different little tidbits out there, some little things that you can put in your game. If you do, right, this is a call to action here. If you do
Mhm.
or are looking to do more video as a CEO, founder, you're looking at building out your own personal brand and you're looking for a done for you solution that works really well. There's literally dozens of people that
Mhm.
do it. I see stuff you do right now all over the internet. It shows up in my feed all
Yeah.
the time. I know it's you because I know it's you, but you may be seeing
Yeah.
Mike's work all the time and have no idea that it's Mike's work. So if you do fall into that category, uh, hit me up. You can message in the comments. I'll put some stuff in here for how to reach out to Mike. He's easy to find. Mike Faraci on LinkedIn is
LinkedIn, mainly. Connect with me on LinkedIn. And just for a little bit of context, so you know what we do, the main thing we specialize in is we give founders, executives, and leaders a way to get a month worth of video content with 1 hour of their time. It's kind of a blend of strategy, coaching, because we do live coach you through making your video content, video editing, and accountability. But it's 1 hour of your time every single month, and you come away with 8 to 12 professional, edited, finished videos. So you can schedule them or host them on your website, put them out on social media. We have clients that actually do these video plans with us, and they never post a single video because they use it all for text and email campaigns in their CRM. And I mean, the content varies, right? There's a lot of different outreach strategies. So there's a lot of possibilities with this stuff. You there, John? You're muted. I'm not hearing you.
Sorry, I've got a cold, so I was coughing.
All good.
Yeah. So if you've got questions, I mean, definitely Mike is the man. You want to reach out to me, I can tell you, anything that you would like. And if you're an individual banker,
Mhm.
broker, small person, just a small little guy out there, and you're looking for a little bit of coaching, some ways to do more, reach out. I'd love to have a conversation with you about what we offer inside of the Fin Toolbox, different ways to add a tremendous amount of value, I feel, without taking a ton of your time. Again, I'm big into the VPM, the value per minute. I want to give you more value than any other coach out there for every minute of your time, because we are only blessed with 1,440 minutes every day. And we want to take advantage of those. So please reach out to me, reach out to Mike. We appreciate your time here, and go out there. Just, if there was one thing that's here that was said in all of my notes, is be consistent. Your brand matters, and you're not too late to the game. If you start today, the only thing that can happen for your business is you're going to do more as a result. Being more present, more out there, sharing more content, more value is not going to hurt you. That's for fact. So thank you for your time, Mike. I truly appreciate it. And
Thank you, my friend.
we'll get this stuff out there. Thank you all. Have a great day.
Take care.
If you're still here and you're watching this, you're probably getting something from our content. If so, maybe or I'm sure someone else that could also benefit. So if you could do us a solid, forward this, share it with your friends, other people that are like-minded, that want help with simple solutions to grow their business. And if you want to do a little bit of a deeper dive someplace on here, there is a place to schedule a call with us to talk about your business and how we can grow it together. Look forward to hearing from you. Again, thank you for being here. Please do share.